Hello 50 fans. This video I thought I would cover another kind of gripe about the car. It's really just a lack of attention to detail from General Motors on their part. But it's one of the things that if you have a Camaro, you have to deal with it. But there are ways to fix what we're going to go over, and that is speaker rattle in the car when you got the bass up. This car is the 2SS model, and it has the Bose sound system. And with a Bose sound system, the way that they were sold back when I was younger, you should be able to turn the sound all the way up. The system adjusts appropriately, no speaker rattles. It's just a great sound system. But that's not the case in this car. There is an issue with it, and that is when the bass is up and the sound is up, it rattles. And it rattles because they put the speaker subwoofer right there. Unbelievable. They would put a subwoofer in the one moving part of the car besides the wheels that moves the most. Unbelievable. But that's where they put it. The subwoofer is in the door, and we're going to go over how to fix it. This isn't all bad. I do want to go over a positive about the car, and that is that GM did take time to address one thing about the car that is I did not expect them to do, and that is there's two different sound systems in the car, or two different sound spectrums in the car, meaning when the top is up, the sound system sounds one way, and when the top is down, it sounds another. It's so when the top is down, it's in surround sound mode. You don't have to turn the sound up as loud while you're driving the car. It compensates for the fact that you're going to hear wind noise and other sounds while driving the car, so the system adjusts automatically. That attention to detail is very much appreciated. So they took time to build that into the car, but then stuck a subwoofer in the doors. Give and take, plus and minuses, it's the way it goes. But what we're going to cover now is how to fix the subwoofer rattling the doors off the car issue. And then what we're going to do is start by taking the door panel off. This is not rocket science. It does require some parts, and I'll go over those parts with you, but it will require some parts and taking the door panel off. Shouldn't have to make any other modifications than just take the panel off, and we'll go over that right now. So the first thing we're going to do is take the panel off, and what you'll need is a panel tool. You've seen that in other videos of mine, and a socket and 7mm ratchet. So the first thing we're going to do is to take off this panel here by prying it up, and that reveals a 7mm screw. The next thing we're going to do is, if you have these, well, I guess all cars have something here, this needs to be pried off. Basically, you're going to pull, and I'm going to pull gingerly because I certainly don't want to mess that up. I don't know how hard that is to get, if it's even hard to get. It could be easy to get, for all I know. So let's pry this off. It's going to require some effort, but again, I can't record it while I'm doing it. It reveals a screw up in here that we're going to need to pull out. And then there's a screw, 7mm screw right here. And I believe those are the only ones holding it in. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to pull, but I'll come back. Okay, all the screws are out. The next thing we need to do is pull these clips out. Sorry. probably thinking, go buy a damn tripod, dude. But I don't know if y'all remember one of my first videos, I said I'm cheap. I can do it myself. I'd just soon do it myself. So I've just pulled that out. There's not much to it. The next is a yanking thing. So I'm gonna have to do this without the phone. So when you go to pull the door off, basically you're gonna pull out from the panel. There's gonna be another clip right back here, like we pulled off out here. There's one right there. So we need to get that out. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to undo this clip here. This is to the door handle. And we're going to pry it out. Let's see. Oops. And it will pop out of there. We'll undo the two wiring harnesses. If I can do it. Gotta pop this up. We should be able to disconnect it. Can't do it one-handed, but push that up and then push the clip out. You're gonna do the same thing on the gray one. Be right back. Okay, after you undo those three things, those clips, that, the panel is off. So I'm gonna set this to the side here. Okay, so what have I done? Well, I have bought sound deadening and placed it all over the car. All wherever I could get it, I put it. As long as it didn't affect this panel here. So you pull this back, you can work and bring the goo with it, the sticky goo with it so it doesn't come off. Keep it on the black panel and then just put the sound deadening material everywhere there is metal surface, and it's everywhere. I don't need to take it all apart. But if you take this black cover off, which is very easy to do, it's only held in with the sticky stuff. All you do is put the sound deadening material everywhere. Now I tried to take the speaker out and do something with the speaker behind it, but when I took the screws out, it seemed like it's a sealed unit. Yours may be different, so I didn't go any further. So there's nothing in the door panel back there. Excuse me. There's nothing down in here behind the speaker. It's all on the door. The other thing I ended up having to do was mine would rattle on the sides. So I have some one-sided foam. It's probably an 1/8 of an, an 1/8 of an inch thick foam that the panel sits right on top of that. And it keeps the system from rattling. So even though I did all this, that definitely helped all the bazillion parts in the door from rattling. When I got to the back panel, if you recall, there's nothing really holding it on other than these clips. There's no screws. If there was a screw here, I wouldn't need this piece. Or if there was a screw here, I wouldn't need those pieces. But there's nothing back here holding it on, and it wants to vibrate because that subwoofer is sitting there. So by putting in the double-sided tape, pulling the panel, putting in the double-sided tape, and putting a piece of foam right here that lines up with the crease of the door panel on both the doors, that has resolved my speaker rattle. And you may look at it and see how I've pieced it together. I did that thinking about weight. I'm sure it probably doesn't matter, but I didn't want to put on a solid piece of stuff of sound deadening material and have the door eventually sag. So I was strategic with where I placed the sound deadening material. And I probably didn't save much weight, but I tried to save some weight. I don't know, probably not necessary, but that's why it's in pieces, in small pieces, and not solid pieces. I was thinking about not weighing the door down with too much stuff. So next, there is a trick to putting this back together, and we'll go over that. Let me get the system ready, and then we'll start from there. Okay, so what we want to do, in order to put it back together easily, is we want to pull this trim, this goes against the window, off of the door panel. And we'll do it by sliding this back toward the back of the door. Remember, this was the clips that held on in the back corner, the one on the inside. So we're just going to pull this weather stripping out. Be right back. Okay, so now that we got the weather stripping out, the next thing we need to do is pull these clips out. And you're going to say, why pull them out of the door when they're already in the door? You'll see. So in order to pull these clips out, it's kind of wedged in here. I don't know if you can tell real good, but there's a gap right here, and this clip just slides in there, and it locks itself in place by this metal thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to push down on the metal and pull this thing out. So I can't do it one-handed, so I'll be right back. So when you saw me trying to pry it out, essentially what we're looking at is we're pushing down on here, pushing against this, allowing it to kind of pull out. By squeezing this down, I was able to pull it right out of the panel. So now let's go over where they go on the door. This is going to simplify putting it back together, and they go here. Can't go but one way. And they go all the way down the door. Like I said, you can't get it wrong. It goes in one way. Sorry. Okay, so the panel, now I'm going to make sure all my plugs, I don't have any missing in the door that I need to pull out and put back into the panel. So I'm getting ready to get the panel and connect back up the door handle and the two wiring looms for the power windows. Okay, so I'm trying to be careful on the bottom of the door. I don't want to scrape it all over the place, but I'm going to plug back up these and connect back up that. Be right back. So now that everything is connected, I'm going to be putting back the weather stripping. So I'm just going to push it as far up into here as possible. Push it down all the way through the back. And I'll put in that pin. So I'm just pushing it down all the way in. I gotta fiddle with the back to get this piece here mounted back and put in the 3 pins. Be right back. So I put in the 3 pins that were there too, and then one behind the panel. Now I'm ready to snap the panel in, and I've already got it just lined up, and we're just going to push. So all that's done is lock it in across the top. Everything's here. And you know how it goes along the sides. That's it. When I was talking about here, this is how that lines up and how that lines up. That little bit of space right there does the trick. So I'm gonna put the screws back in, put the panels back on, and wipe the door back off, and I'll be right back. For those of you wondering, I use the Noico SNL2 80mm. I bought 18 square feet. I have several vehicles that, you know, I wanted to do sound deadening too. But for this purpose, you could probably get away with 4 square feet and have plenty left over after you do the doors. I will say, after doing this, the sound in the car is phenomenally better. I can't describe to you, there are no rattles. I can't reproduce it on the phone, and you play it back on your home speakers, you'll never hear it, but the bass can go all the way up. It sounds great, sounds solid, and it works. I think, don't forget, these pieces here are key in addition to the rest. It all works together. And so I know this video has come across as more confusing, maybe it looks herky-jerky, but that's me doing it one-handed. All I really did was pull back 2 panels, that panel and the panel underneath here, unscrewed 3 screws, pulled the panel out, undid these 2 clips, and when I pull the panel back, it'll reveal the 3rd clip back here. Pull that out and lift the door off. Then I disconnected the door handle and 2 wiring harnesses, and the door is off. Then all you got to do is put on your sound deadening material, pull back that black mat, put more sound deadening material behind the door, put back the black mat, and put this back together. It's not complicated. It doesn't take long. It probably came across as, oh my God, I'll never undertake it, but you're not making a video and you're not trying to do it one-handed, whereas I was for this purpose. In reality, it's not a big deal. So cars sound so much better. You'll appreciate the time you take in doing this. I would just never done it before and you're leery of it, probably just plan to take an afternoon, take it off 1 door at a time, 1 panel at a time, 1 clip at a time. Don't think about the totality of the project. Take it in steps and you'll be fine. Anyway, if you like this video and found it helpful, like the video.